welcome back, everyone, to the Quirk Creation Series. Today's Quirk Creation Series suggestion comes to us from He Who Died, who asked the question, what is the quirk of Rex Salazar from Generator X? I've had Rex on here a couple times. I did him for the Digimon Partner Series. Have I done a Pokemon team video for him yet? I'm not sure I have. But we're here now with his quirk. And his quirk, look, first off, he's Rex Salazar. I think his hero name obviously would be Generator Rex. Perfect name. You don't need to change anything about that. What would his quirk be called, though? Because I think his ability does have a name, if I'm not mistaken. I wasn't huge on. I didn't hate Generator Rex or anything. It would have been a series that was up my alley, but problem is I was watching Ben 10 more than I was watching that, and by the time this series came around, around the time Ben 10 had been on for a while, I was starting to get out of Cartoon Network as much. So the ability, because of the Evo, because of things being called Evos, I mean, he's got Technopathy and Evo Curate and Machine Manifestation. So what do we call that? What do we call an ability like that in the world of My Hero? And before we really go any further, its abilities would be pretty much the same as what Rex has. Minus the fact that Evos don't exist within the My Hero world, so the whole curing Evos and all that jazz isn't going to do anything. But the ability to communicate with electricity, morph your body into certain mechanical objects, so forth and so on, enhance physicality, healing factor, adaptability, all that kind of stuff. Enhanced intellect. That would all still, minus the godhood, although we could maybe work that into, although we could warp that maybe into his evolved quirk. I don't think anything here needs to really be changed. But we'll talk about that when we evolve it. What do we call the quirk? Because the quirk itself, his abilities don't really have. Would we call it machine, man and machine, or cyborg, or machine meld, or techno meld? Ooh, techno meld's not bad. I'm just thinking it from the standpoint of President Mike announcing it. It's Rex Salazar, his quirk. His quirk, Evo. Actually, no, that's not bad. Like, we don't know why it's called that. It's just called that. Like, the baby can be that. Now, before we get into the evolved nature, which we could go into the godhood of his evolution, what would any weaknesses of this quirk actually be? Because Rex himself really doesn't have any real weaknesses to speak of. He meets a stronger foe that could beat him up. That's one thing, but no, it's like Goku. Goku himself doesn't inherently have any weakness. It's just finding someone stronger than him to kick his ass. So what would a weakness of this quirk, I guess, be in the mind? Because all quirks in the My Hero world, being physical abilities, have limitations and weaknesses to them. Bakugo stretches his body out too much. Uraraka gets nauseous the more she uses her quirk. Just thinking of a couple of Todoroki's quirk goes completely out of not Todoroki, Toya, Dark Shadow. His quirk goes out of control in the darkness, so it's harder to control. All quirks have some level of weakness to them, some inherent flaw. So what would be the inherent flaw of an ability like this? I would say this. His quirk probably doesn't, at least in the My Hero world here, has trouble against, like, sophisticated AIs. Like, he can't just meld or communicate or control those. But beyond that, maybe this could be one of those things where it eats at his metabolism a lot. So maybe he's constantly eating, similar like how Momo has to constantly kind of like keep her fat up so she can keep producing stuff. Because otherwise, she'd be probably a lot heavier than she is. No, she stays as fit and thin as she is because A, she works out, and B, she's able to constantly produce her fat cells divide. So maybe it runs his metabolism down the longer he uses his quirk for. Like he can use it no problem for like an hour or two without any real issue. He's just gonna get hungry. But if he keeps pushing past that, he's now gonna start wearing down his muscle, his fat and his muscle mass. His organs are gonna start maybe not functioning as well until he starts really eating. So yeah, honestly, that could be a decent limitation for the quirk. Now, if we're talking about godhood and converting that into the awakened form of his quirk, I have the wiki up here. So godhood. When Rex completed control over all 5 meta nanites, he temporarily became the most powerful being in the universe and was granted godhood. Obtaining glowing eyes, Rex can form a blue dome around him and quickly levitate into deep space. By simply using words, Rex attempted to cure every Evo and discard every nanite, notably as the worldwide cure. However, after he used the godlike powers to spread the worldwide cure to all Evos, he later ordered the meta nanites deactivate, ensuring no one could ever use their powers again. It was implied that the others still had the possibility that others still had the possibility of avoiding his power. Okay, so how the hell do I convert that into an awakened version of a quirk? Because his powers came from 4 or 5 different separate nanites that he didn't initially have. I think maybe he had like one of them or something like that to start with. Mostly, I mean, it's what he actually was capable of doing is very. It's not actually defined how powerful he became. It says he was the most powerful being in the universe, but what does that actually mean when all he was doing was traveling in space, levitating, and creating an energy dome around him, okay, and curing Evos. But that doesn't matter in the context of my hero. So how do I turn that into an awakened quirk? I think what we have to do is look at what his current quirk, which is all of his current abilities, are. Look at what the godhood is, and see if we can reach some sort of bridge into a higher version of his quirk. My right now guess would be when he awakens his quirk, it's one of the awakened quirks that's not always on or activated. He's not always like activating his awakened quirk. He can go into his awakened quirk when he needs his awakened quirk. There's a My Hero. There's a quirk series for you. Captain Kirk's quirk. Oh God, the tongue twister for that video would be nuts. Anywho, I think what we can do here is it's a quirk that when awoken, it does drain his metabolism even faster. Like he can only keep it activated for maybe like 15 minutes at a time. But when he's doing it, he pretty much has worldwide access to all technology. Whatever he needs access to, he has it. As long as it's tech, it could be as simple as a toaster or as complex as the best supercomputer on Earth. Be it something like a gun. It doesn't have any like real complex moving parts. I don't think it qualifies. We're talking tech. We're talking stuff that it's a machine pretty much. A gun technically is such a simple machine, has some complicated parts to it, but it's not a machine. It's more of a tool. It's a complex tool, but it's not a tool. I'm talking machinery, technology in that regard. Anything that could be communicated with on a technological scale to some degree. Anything that has much more gears and motions and all that. Guns, again, I use guns as an example. They got like a cocking mechanism. There are a few things that work in tandem, but they're not. They don't think they work the same way. Where something like a missile does work. There's a lot of complex stuff going on in the missile, so you could do that. Bombs work the same way. Grenades, weaponry on that scale works that way to some degree or another. But like firearms, I think are a bit too simplistic for this quirk to work on. But I'm talking about the entire world's level of technology. You could literally use the access to the internet and just have virtual unlimited knowledge on the planet. Now, this does not put him on a universal level like it does in the actual series, because I can't make any quirk that broken in this series. No quirk is that broken in this series. But I think that can work. And like I said, going from an hour or two to like 15 minutes, I think is a good decrease and a fair decrease for the level of power Rex would gain in this state. Going beyond the 15 minutes would severely tax his body beyond recognition. Like if he managed to go for a half hour, he might be emaciated on death's door. Like that's how much energy his body's probably outputting at this point. So that's why the 15 minutes I think is a good limit, because if you go much beyond that, you're going to quickly get into the I'm dying power. But then again, you go plus ultra, go plus ultra, So ultimately, yeah, that would be, I'd say, the quirk for Rex Salazar. But let me know what you think. Do you agree with this or do you disagree? Let me know in the comments below. But thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you for the next one.